Hello. This is episode 404 from Granite City Waaagh Fest. This is your host, Jake Scherbing. In this episode, we're joined by Brandon Kline. This is the anime episode. We talk about Spy Family, not Spy Times Family, like I've been saying it this entire time. I watched the first season. Brandon Kline, he challenged me to watch 3 different anime shows. I watched the first one, so we discussed that. And also this episode, I give my reason for why people hate Skylar White from Breaking Bad. So stay tuned and cue the music.
Alright, this is Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash catches Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up, and we're still here at Waaagh Fest, right?
Yeah, Waaagh Fest.
We're at Waaagh Fest, a Warhammer tournament. Waaagh. I keep saying Waaagh. I keep hearing Waaagh.
Yeah.
I'm here with Brandon Kline. We're doing a Megapod today. So, we're doing a little bit something different. Me and Brandon having our own episode while we're waiting for interviewees. Brandon, hello.
Hello.
It's been almost 2 months.
Has it really been that long already?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It feels like it was a couple weeks ago.
It does. It's been 2 months. Because on my way to your place to pick you up, I dropped in a gym, and I'm still there.
Okay.
And it says 60 on it.
So, okay.
That equals 2 months.
Yep, yeah, that's fair. Wow. Time flies.
It really does. I mean, I was in the hospital for about 2 of those weeks.
Yeah.
And I was sick for another week, and then I was recovering for surgery for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too fun.
No, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah. No, you're good.
All right, man, I'm so unprepared on this whole thing because I don't even have your outline out. Shouldn't take too long.
Yeah.
So, all right, so before we started, Brandon tasked me with watching 3 animes.
Yeah, how far did you get on those?
I got one anime done. I got the biggest one done.
Yeah, you did.
So he tasked me to watch Spy Times Family,
It's just Spy Family.
Spy Family?
Yeah.
Why is there an X?
It's silent.
What?
It's just like Hunter x Hunter. It's not Hunter x Hunter.
It's done. Spy Times Family is better.
No.
Spy X Family.
No, Spy Family.
Spy and Family.
If you want to let people know that you don't actually watch anime, call it Spy X Family.
I don't watch anime.
Okay.
I can just say that.
Okay.
But, like, I do watch anime. I watched the one.
You have. So you should respect it enough to call it Spy Family.
All right, so I watched Spy Family. I watched all of it. So here's my thoughts on it. I enjoyed it. It's really... But it's like that I keep expecting it to be very serious because every time I watch an anime, it gets very, very serious. But this is more of like... I feel like it's more of a sitcom anime.
It's much more lighthearted, kind of... sitcom-y, I guess, in a way.
Well, some
Family.
episodes are like very like serious, and some episodes are just like, all right, here's the problems of a housewife.
Yeah,
I want to make sure my husband is happy.
I think that's part of what makes it so good, is that it's able to go from like these stories that are just like very mundane seeming, and then turning it into like this tense situation kind of, and then also having some of these more like high stakes things. Like my favorite scene, I think, in that show is when dude takes his daughter. I can't remember his name right now.
I am blanking too. I do have internet now.
Yeah. Look it up real quick so we don't sound like idiots. But he takes his daughter. She wants him to show her him being the spy guy, and they go to. He rents out like this giant mansion and hires all of his spy people to come out there and pretend.
Makes it like this important mission. They're like, Twilight needs this.
Yeah, Twilight. Yes, Twilight. That's his code name.
Wait, you're blanking on Twilight?
I was. I didn't watch it again since I was gonna watch it again before we talked about this, but I didn't get a chance to.
I guess I should have told you I was watching it.
Yeah.
I kind of did.
You did. I was gonna get back to it. To be fair, this is the one I watched most recently. The other 2 I was more gonna rewatch specifically to talk about it.
Hey, well, that's good because I haven't watched it, man. We were supposed to do a Discord watch together.
Yes, yeah. I would still like to do that.
I'm trying to get to the characters. Oh, there it is.
Lloyd,
Yeah.
Lloyd
Forger.
Forger.
Anya.
And...
Yara. Or Yar. Yar.
Yor. That's it. Oh.
Wow, we sound like we are very...
Yeah, like we
And
don't know
then
what
Bond,
we're
which I love the name Bond, because I just like, all right, this is very much a James Bond reference.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know how it's not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bond.
Yeah, that's.
I do like the dog in there.
Oh yeah.
So, one of the things I really liked about this whole show is, like, it sounds like it'd be really boring since, like, we get a make-believe family together to, spy on this country. But they all have, like, their own secret. And I do really... That was like
we
the
should
premise.
Explain, the premise of the show.
Oh, no, I'll get there. So,
okay.
All right, so Twilight, he's spying... So there's two countries that are kind of like in a Cold War.
Yeah, it's kind of like a parallel of East and West Berlin, I feel like.
And then he's from the West, and he's spied on the East, and he's like the most famous spy for the West. And it seems like everybody in the East knows of him, but doesn't know of him.
Right. Infamous.
Yeah, he's very infamous, but they don't really know like what he looks like, because he can pretty much just be himself in the country, and no one really realizes he's a spy. And so he's tasked with trying to get to the Prime Minister, was it? Or one of the generals?
Yeah, one of the generals. And the only way to do so is to meet up with him through a very prestigious elementary school.
Yeah, so like he only comes out for the specific party, which the only people that come to this party is those of the parents of the students in this school. So he's tasked with finding a family.
A fake
family, and then getting his fake son or daughter into this school, and then getting this son or daughter to get all the enough stars. Yeah. It's like
good merit points,
badges of honor to go into this high class elites like party meeting, and then he can meet
and finally be in a one-on-one space with the person that he's trying to get to.
Exactly. So he has to have a whole fake family. So at first he finds Anya, the daughter. And so his secret, he's a spy. He finds this daughter at this orphanage, and her big secret is that she's a telepath. She can read everybody's mind. She knows everybody's secret, what's going on. But she doesn't want anyone to know.
Because she's afraid.
Yeah, she's afraid
get rid of her. Yeah.
Yep. And what's really interesting about her is like she's very adorable, but like she's not the brightest.
No.
She's like
she finds it very cool.
She's also 2 years younger than like she's like 4, isn't she?
Yeah.
And they try to make her like be 6.
Yeah, because he asked her how old she is, and she can read his mind, and so she lies.
Yeah. So like she comes off as very impressive, but isn't impressive at all because she just reads people's minds and tells them the answer they want to hear.
Right.
And then he needs a wife, and he finds Yora. Yor?
Yeah, just
I think
it's just Yor.
I'm pretty sure she's on her virgin name. Okay.
Yor.
It's Spy Time's family, damn it.
No. Okay.
So her whole secret is she's an assassin. I don't think that in the show you don't really get much. I don't want to spoil it too much, but she's an assassin, and she doesn't want anyone to find her secret.
So the other thing is that since these two countries are in this really intense Cold War, there's a very like anti-spy movement going on in both sides. They're very worried
Good point. Yep.
about spies and potential threats to the
We are at a live event, just so you guys know.
So you're being a single woman in her 30s or so and secretly being an assassin is actually looked at quite suspiciously with what she's doing in her off time, and is worried that people will turn her in and then she will get caught. So that is why she decides to go with Lloyd in his plan to be his fake husband. So that she can lie to her brother. And they actually
get actually married. They're an actual family. He adopts her. They become a family.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's part of the premise is them actually kind of becoming a real family. Yeah. It's a fake family, but they start to and then for each other.
What's great about the show is I just like how like there's just layer after layer after layer. So for example, Yora's brother is like the sweet innocent. It comes out of this sweet innocent little brother who just cares about his sister.
Too much.
Very incestual.
Yeah, it's typical anime.
And then he also has a secret.
Yeah.
He is
works for the anti-spies, basically.
Yeah. He's like the KGB spies. Almost.
Yeah. Like the secret police, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, he's part of the secret police. He's just like he tortures them. He's very much secretly like a very twisted person.
Yeah, he's definitely the enemy to Lloyd.
And his whole goal is to find Twilight.
So yeah, it's this very interesting dynamic of a bunch of people tiptoeing around each other, trying to hide who they really are, and question whether or not they would be accepted for who they are. Or
and I think what the greatest thing about all of it is like if the family just told each other all of its secrets, it would just work out perfectly fine.
More than likely, they would all be okay with it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you have a secret, you have a secret, you have a secret. Let's just work.
As Anya is a telepath, she knows.
Oh, she already knows.
She knows that yours an assassin.
I just like
that Lloyd is a spy.
My dad's a spy. That's so cool.
Yeah.
My mom's an assassin. Actually, she's not really that bad. She's more just terrified because she reads yours minds like, do I have to kill this person? Do I have to? And she's just like thinking about like, I like how they were trying to teach like the body anatomy. No, she was trying to teach math to her once, and like it's like a pie chart. If you think about a human, you have the torso, the arms, and the legs, and you just cut them up into the pieces, and that's how you learn fractions. And she's just like terrified. And like yours always just trying to like think about. She's thinking of it as assassin. Like, do I have to kill this person? And how am I have to kill this person? And also, she's
scary.
She's very scary because she's like actually very innocent, but she's not very innocent.
Yeah, like a naiveness almost to her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she'll kill you without taking a second thought about it.
Oh well, no, she'll take a couple second thoughts to kind of like taunt that like you will die now, and then you die. And then you have like no option. She's also very strong.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Anime.
There's so many. Okay, so I want to talk about the tennis. No, let's talk about the other spy. So Twilight, they meet the other spy that comes to help Twilight in his mission.
Are you talking about Bond?
I forget. Not Bond. But that episode where Bond is introduced is freaking amazing.
He's a legendary
Not
character.
Bond. It's another one of the spies. I can't think of her name. Midnight? Nightfall. Fiona.
Okay. Yep.
So you have this other spy that comes in who just absolutely loves Twilight. She's trying to she tries to do whatever to impress him, and Twilight doesn't care. Twilight's all about the mission.
Yep, 100%.
He's like, he will literally fall in love with anyone. He's like, honeypot situation.
Yep.
I think we meet Twilight breaking up as his girlfriend.
Doesn't start out with him, and
he's just so cold and
just drops.
It's like she was a great woman, but I'm all about the mission.
Yep.
I have no feelings for her. My only feelings is for the mission.
Yep.
So it's just a very interesting dynamic. The tennis scene, I think, was like one of my favorites, just because it was just the most ridiculous anime episode ever about tennis. It's like
just you wait.
Season 2 comes out this fall, right? The sub version.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Huh?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I was very excited. I thought it was only going to be one season. One season in a movie.
It was definitely popular enough, I think, for them to justify another season.
I think, yeah,
it was a
makes
very
sense.
well-rated show.
But the tennis was just interesting because one, these are just two normal humans who are spies, but they act like they're not humans.
Yeah.
This is I wouldn't even say tennis on steroids, because this is like tennis on. They really Super Saiyan multiple times.
Yeah.
Everyone is super jacked or on the other people would be on steroids and then just kick their ass.
Oh, yeah.
And then the last match was I'm gonna have these super fancy tennis rackets, and then we're gonna rig the entire tennis.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, okay, we'll just expertly run around and not get hit with bullets and not get tripped over the court that's moving up and down.
Yep. Yeah, that's classic. I mean, that's day one spy training right there, Jake.
I would not do well as a spy. I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't dodge bullets, then you shouldn't sign up to be a spy.
I mean, that's kind of fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so.
Well, eventually you'll watch Devilman Crybaby, and then we'll
tell me a little bit about these two, because this is very. I heard these are very much opposite. You have spy, not times family.
Hey, to be fair, when I first watched Hunter x Hunter, it took me quite a while to lose the X in it. I kept wanting to call it Hunter x Hunter, but it is
not Hunter times Hunter.
Yeah, no. It's
not Hunter and Hunter.
Hunter.
Hunter multiplied Hunter.
Hunter squared.
I'm like, wait, what is spy times family? What is it? Spy multiply family?
I think if you wrote it out without the times, like you would with numbers, it would just be spy family.
They should just use the space, not an X. I don't know.
It looks cooler though.
It does, because it looks like Spy X Family.
Just add something to it.
So tell me about Devil. Wait, what is it?
Devilman Crybaby.
Devilman Crybaby. Tell me about this one.
This is a very intense show.
Okay.
Probably in the top 2 or 3 at best of like the most intense like anime I've ever watched.
You really want to give me whiplash with this assignment.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to really give you a good array, so you can really see the different avenues that it can show, because I feel like anime is such an interesting medium where it can go from, just like anything really. It can have very serious, very comedic, horrifying, dark, sad. It can really hit all of those things, which is something a lot of people don't consider because they're just like, oh, it's a cartoon. You don't think about that. But at the end of the day, it really can hit all of those notes and stuff like that and surprise you in a lot of ways.
Oh, for sure.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
I was told by Thomas to come back and talk to you guys at some point.
All right.
Sure.
Well, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back to more anime.
Yes.
What's your name? I'm Dan.
All right, we're back, and I think it's just gonna be par for the course when it comes to all these episodes and this mega pod that we're doing.
Yeah,
we're
it's gonna be cut up. That's for sure.
All right, so we're talking about Devilman Crybaby. That title is very. Are you sure it's not Devilman times Crybaby?
No, it's Devilman Crybaby.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. So I'm obviously not going to spoil too much about the show.
Okay.
So I'll just touch on a couple things. First, the art style is very unique.
Yep.
Very different from Spy
Unique
Family,
how?
from like traditional. I almost say it's like a worse like drawing style, but like purposefully worse.
Okay.
Like things have like less detail and stuff,
Okay.
and it's really in like the colors.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call that animation style, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say worse.
No,
It's like
that's a bad description because it makes it
minimalist?
sound. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Minimalist. It really, a lot of the work comes from like the colors and stuff like that in the show. Are we good?
No, we're good.
Okay. From like the colors and stuff, very contrasting and stuff like that. As far as the actual story goes, a real brief synopsis. Basically, demons start taking over the world, like taking over people, and there's like an apocalypse on the horizon.
Okay.
And our main character gets taken over by a demon,
Okay.
but is able to like control his demon
Gotcha.
and uses it to try to fight back.
Nice.
And that's about the extent of what I'll tell you.
I'm going to throw out a comparison. You tell me yes or no, or you can just tell me to shut up. Supernatural?
No.
Okay.
No.
The premise sounded similar.
Laying it out, it's a very simple way to put it.
Yeah.
It's very much more
Complicated.
intense, and
More
intense.
layered.
Yeah, and also just on a much grander scale than you may initially think.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
very good. It's only
And
like 8 episodes.
8 episodes? Yeah, I should definitely start watching that. I
Yeah.
definitely have the time to.
Yeah, it's
And then we can come back and talk about it.
yeah.
And the next one is Chainsaw Man, which I haven't looked at anything into it, other than it's a guy. Actually, no, this is just my prediction. It's a guy with a chainsaw.
Similar, kind of.
Are you sure it's not Chainsaw Times Man?
Yes. Yeah.
Chainsaw X Man.
You know, when I explain this show
That
to you,
sounds dope.
it's gonna sound pretty similar to Devilman Crybaby in a way. Basically, it's like a modern day Tokyo, except for there are demons. But these demons are devils,
Yep.
whatever they call them, are essentially like they're kind of like there's like a devil of guns.
Okay.
Like there's like trying to think of some more of the examples, like a chainsaw devil, for example.
Yeah.
Like there's like specific that are basically like, and their power level is kind of determined by how much like fear like their associated thing kind of puts into the world. So, for instance, like the gun devil is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Because guns are extremely powerful and
Makes sense.
feared and stuff like that.
Is there a nuke devil?
Potentially.
Oh, okay. There's more coming.
There's a lot. I mean, I think the actual manga is over.
Oh.
Like a completed thing. But they only got to like a third of the way through.
Okay, so essentially they have 2 more seasons left.
I would guess, at least. Depending on how much they
I
stretch
really
it out
just
and
want to
they
know
add
if there's a
things.
nuke devil.
There very well could be.
You don't know. You
That would be terrifying. But essentially, our main character, Denji, in that show is a very beaten down, like, bottom of the barrel. Like, it's interesting to see, like, a main character that's really, like, at the bottom. His dad worked for the mob and owed them a ton of money and died. And as, an 8-year-old kid, the mob was basically like, hey, you either come up with that money or we're just going to kill you, too. So his whole life, since being a child, has been, like, doing anything and everything he can to get money to try to pay off his dad's debt to the mob in order to keep living.
That's very depressing.
Yeah, like he sold his eye, sold his kidney, sold one of his testicles.
Damn.
Like, just to be able to make these payments on time in order to keep living. And then he ends up meeting this little chainsaw devil, essentially, called Pochita. Without going into too many spoilers. I mean, it's episode 1, so it's not really, like, that big of spoilers. But they do end up kind of merging together, and it becomes, like, one of the first, like, half-devil, half-human, like, hybrid type things.
Chainsaw Man.
It becomes, Chainsaw Man. And he's able
I'm just saying, Chainsaw X-Man would be a lot better.
He gets a ripcord in his chest.
Okay.
He pulls the ripcord, then he's got chainsaws that burst out of his arms and his head.
In his head?
Yeah, he's got a big chainsaw coming out of his head.
All right.
Yeah, it's very gruesome, very sexual at times, very funny. Definitely goes places that you don't expect it to go sometimes.
Cool.
It's a very good show.
I'm interested.
Yeah, it's very good.
All right.
The action is awesome. Bloody.
Should we do a change of pace?
Sure.
This actually might be a YouTube video at some point.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk Breaking Bad.
Okay.
And we're like a decade too late on this.
At least.
But I feel like most people, most casuals have, when I say casuals, like people who don't typically, I don't know how to explain it. Like the casual audience that watches like network shows, I feel like have watched Breaking Bad at some point because it's been such a huge show.
Ubiquitous.
Huh?
Ubiquitously known. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone at least has heard of Breaking Bad by now.
I feel like it's one of the more watched shows.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's one of those shows where like the plot's so relatable in a sense where like, hey, a man is in debt, so he starts cooking meth.
Yeah, relatable. Yeah,
Well,
relatable
I mean,
to
like,
a point.
Walter's relatable.
Well, yeah,
'Cause, like-
well, until he's not.
Yeah, but like
Until he starts doing things
the
that-
journey gets there.
Yeah, I think they do a very good job in showing why he believes he's justified in doing a lot of the things that he does.
Yeah.
They frame it in a way that makes it seem like it could be the best or only answer and stuff. But at the end of the day, he had the option to get the money from his friend at the very beginning of the show and not have to do any of this. But
Why
his
not
own
take
hubris,
it?
his own ego, his own pride, instead forced him down this very dark path that led to...
Which is defeat his ego.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, is he really,
It's
really
still,
justified?
No,
No.
not at all. But I mean, like, if you forget that whole season 1 arc, then yes, it is very justifiable.
Yeah.
You know what else would have stopped all this too?
What's that?
Free healthcare.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
This doesn't happen in Denmark. This doesn't happen in Japan.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't happen in Canada.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about that. That gets right into politics.
Yeah,
but I just like that part of that. Like, this doesn't happen with healthcare.
Oh, yeah. The uniquely American problem.
But one of the big issues that I like talking about, and we talked about this before on the way over here, is that I find that most audiences hate Skylar. And what fascinates me is the creator of the show, Vince Gilligan, does not understand why people hate Skylar. Because he's not supposed to be written that way. Or she's not supposed to be written that way. And I feel like I understand why she's hated. But the consensus is because Walt's very relatable. we, especially white men, find ourselves into Walter White. We kind of like become Walter White, and we cheer for his success or his rise into being a crime lord. And Skylar is constantly in his path. She's an obstacle in his way, and that's kind of the consensus. And I think that's true to a point. However, I feel like one of the missed points is she's a very toxic individual who doesn't cope well.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed with this is season 1, before Walt is diagnosed with cancer, and she's very controlling the relationship. She controls the household. She's essentially, I wouldn't say she's the man, but I would say she's the decision maker. She's
Dominant.
the one that, yeah. Not to say, well, yeah. Walt's kind of sub-dom in this situation. He has all the skills in the world, but he's a high school teacher. He got kicked out of his company for reasons, and it's just he was never in control. She's controlling him, and she starts becoming this grab of control, toxic person when Walter kind of starts taking control of his own life.
Yeah,
she gets mad that he doesn't tell her about the cancer diagnosis. She tries to control everything, and she gets mad and tries to manipulate her family and the people around him to kind of convince them to take chemo.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of justified? I mean, isn't that what a normal person would do?
It is.
Yeah.
Skylar is very normal.
Yeah.
She is very normal, but she's also toxic.
Yeah.
Normal people are toxic.
I mean,
but this is where I find it interesting, though, because like she's supposed to be written as like what a normal, regular wife would do. But I don't think they realize that she's also very pushy and also very much like she gets mad about the control. She's not written this way, but she is written that way. It's not the intended purpose, but that's how it comes off in the portrayal.
Do you think it has anything to do with like the time and the fact that it was like one of the first shows where like there was like a woman that was actually like the obstacle to the man in the story and stuff like that, instead of just being like completely oblivious and unknowing to what's going on?
Well, here's the thing. Sopranos, the wife of Tony Soprano, outside of the universe, like the audiences watches, they hated her too because she was always an obstacle in the way of Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
And a lot of times she was justified, like, hey, family first. And, you know, Tony Soprano would oftentimes neglect his family to, you know, take care of the mafia business.
Right.
So, like, she was hated, but I feel like that was the hate is less justified instead of Skylar, who is more a toxic individual. The episode that I'm rewatching this, so this is why I bring it up. In one episode, so Walter just got out of a fugue state, and I'm not going to spoil it too much for anyone who hasn't watched it, but I also know that most people watched it. After the fugue state, so the thing about Walter is he's also abusive. He's emotionally abusive to a point where he gets physically abusive with Jesse. He is an abusive person. He's also a toxic person once he starts this drug hold thing. In a weird way, Skylar is justified with everything, but she doesn't handle it well. So in season 2, the first shot before we get to Skylar is a mug that says "I see through you," and that's the kind of highlight that Skylar sees through her sister's actions. She sees through her brother-in-law's actions, Hank, trying to get Maria and her together again, be friendly sisters. Maria is mad that she turned back the item that she stole. That's like very expensive tiara that a baby doesn't need. No baby needs a tiara, especially an expensive tiara. And she sees through Walter White. And Walter White sucks at lying when it comes to this early on. He overplays his hand constantly. And so it gets to this, like, she's right on the money. She deserves, like, she's right.
Yeah.
Very much right. But the thing is, it's like if you take a math test and you ace it, but you don't show your work.
Yeah.
How does the teacher feel towards you? They're going to think you're cheating.
You think that it's because they don't feel like that she knows more than she should?
No, her
She's
intuition
smarter than she should be?
No, it's more just the fact of how she handles it.
Yeah.
So, like, a healthy person in this situation, if she's like, hey, Walter's lying about the fugue state, he's lying about the second cell phone because in this situation, right before Tuco takes Walter away, he's in panic mode because he thinks he's going to die. And so he's panicking. He's very, like, stressed, and she can tell. And his cell phone rings. He doesn't answer it. He looks down, and she notices that the cell phone rang, and then he disappears. But they check his phone records. There's nothing there. So the assumption is he has a second cell phone.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know he has a second cell phone. The lie that he comes up with afterwards is, oh, it was my ringtone. It was my alarm. Which is believable, but the way Walt presents it is very... like, it's somebody who's trying to tell you a story. Somebody who's trying to sell you something. It's not just, like, casually, like, she brings it up. He's like, you know, I was thinking about it, and I think it might have been my ringtone because I've been using my alarms a lot. And maybe that's what you heard. But I honestly don't remember what it was. And I don't have a second cell phone. Or you could have been lying and just say, yeah, I have a second cell phone because I'm doing pot.
Yeah.
And that's how I contact my dealer. He gave it to me.
Yep.
He could have went with any of this, but no, he's overselling it. He's essentially trying to gaslight her. She knows what's up. However, she doesn't bring this up and doesn't, like, confront him. She just starts leaving. She doesn't tell where she's going, and then she's just out. She's just gone for hours. She does this for days. And then when Walt's like, no, we need to talk, she doesn't. And then, at the end of this episode, this is the last episode to watch, she starts smoking while pregnant.
Yeah.
Which, how is this character supposed to be likable? She's not she's also, like, Walt's being toxic and lying, but she's turning around and handling it as a toxic person as well. These are two toxic individuals.
Yeah, but I mean, is anybody just, like, fully likable all the time?
No, but I also wouldn't say she comes around and be justified either.
Yeah.
I will say in the later seasons, she does become more relatable and more likable as a character. And she becomes less toxic, but in the early seasons, she's written, I feel like, unintentionally as toxic.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, like, in her point of view, too, though, like, everything is normal for so long, and then all of a sudden...
it's not.
Everything is upside down. Your husband is lying to you. I mean... I'm
not saying she's not valid or isn't justified for reasons, because obviously, like, if you're not a... basically, my whole point of I'm trying to show here... and I know we have time limit too, so thank you for checking the time. Yeah. My whole point is Vince Gilligan thinks it's just toxic masculinity, that we're all trying to be Walter White and we're mad that she's an obstacle. But I think it's more the fact that she shows a lot of toxic personality traits, especially in the early seasons, that kind of just last throughout the show.
Yeah. Maybe it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah.
I do think...
she also does a lot of bad actions later on.
Yeah.
But understandably.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Like, her cheating on Walt later on in the episode, or later in the seasons.
Yeah, I
understandable.
Guess maybe just because somebody is justified or right in what they're doing doesn't make them likable.
Yeah. So I guess that's my point.
I guess if you're in it for a story about somebody doing bad things and getting away with it, the person that's, like, trying to do the right things or like taking the moral high ground is actually the bad guy in that story.
I want to say she takes the moral high ground.
Well, yeah, but I mean, somebody that's, like, working against him essentially for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Kind of turns into a bad guy.
But I do say, like, her whole instincts are kind of just interesting, that she just knows that something's up. And it's like, yep. But, like, logically speaking, like, if you think it through and you actually put faith in your, like, significant partner, I feel like you handle it differently.
Yeah, but that's such a drastic thing that he's doing.
I agree. But you also look at it too. She had control of this whole relationship, and then she loses that control.
Yeah.
And she then copes in a very, I keep saying toxic manner, but in a manner that's just not healthy, I would say.
Yeah, but even if she wasn't, like, in full control, like, just losing control of...
Well, let's look at her viewpoint, right? She finds out he's diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
I mean, if you were diagnosed with cancer, what are you going to do? You're probably going to act a lot more drastically than you were before that. That was the blowhorn.
Yeah, that one got me.
I saw the guy, and then I wasn't expecting the blowhorn. So, I just want to make that point. I think we can end it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
Why do people hate Skylar Grey?
Why do people hate Skylar Grey?
Skylar White.
Skylar Grey. Skylar White.
I don't know why I said Grey.
You made me screw up. All right.
I should've said
Most people think it's because she's an obstacle in Walter's way. I think it's a mixture of that on top of the fact that she does present herself to be toxic.
that. Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree entirely, so.
You're supposed to disagree. Make better content.
But, I mean, I don't disagree, though.
All right.